Oh, nice. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Motion Designer Reacts. I'm Ryan with Chomp Studio, and lately we've been checking out a lot of Warhammer stuff because they just keep knocking out the cinematics, whether it's Astartes, which kind of started this whole thing, and lately we've been talking about Pariah Nexus. The cinematics and animations have just been so awesome, and you guys recommended that I need to go back and check out another cinematic that talks about the making of a Space Marine. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cinematic first, and I'll try not to talk over it too much, and then the second half of the video, let's break down some of the scenes that we really like and some of the animation that we like as well. So let's keep diving into that Warhammer lore, and let's check out the cinematic called Armouring of a Space Marine. Again, the sense of scale just in the beginning of this is great, and the textures are great. And just great camera work already in the beginning. Love that chanting in the background. Nice entrance. Whoa. As with all Warhammer, super ritualistic. I love it. Were those the servo skulls? I'm learning, guys. Servo skulls. And the cherubs are flying babies.
I accept these burdens as the Imperium bleeds. I accept these burdens, knowing no fear.
Oh, nice light with particles in it. Love that.
I accept these burdens as an angel of the Emperor.
Man, this narration's really good too. Oh, this guy on the stand? That's cool.
My form in the second skin.
Been learning about the second skin.
This veil of machine muscle and false nerves.
Very cool. Really great close-ups throughout this.
I stand firm against the alien.
This is awesome.
The mutant, the heretic. I grant no mercy. I give no ground.
Oh man. They're picking their close-ups and all their depth of field shots just so well. Man, he looks so awesome. What are these guys doing? Oh, is this the bolter? Flying babies! Man, just locking them in. What are these guys bringing in now? Lots of flying babies. All right, big old chest piece. I love that there's two people to show how large the armor is.
I bear the Imperialis. The symbol of loyalty unbroken.
This is awesome.
With reverence, I receive actuation. Awakening the armor spirit.
Ooh. Nice distortion from the backpack there. What?
With pride, I wear the symbol of my chapter.
This is great.
And join my brothers in war.
Man. Two people to carry the I'm assuming is the bolter. That's awesome. The clip. 2 hands for 1 clip.
I am iron. I
Oh my gosh. I mean, Warhammer just knocking it out again. So far, I've just not been disappointed by any of these cinematics that we're watching or people recommend. They're just all so great. And this one is a couple of years older, which is fine, but there's just so much good stuff to take away here visually, and it just looks amazing. And it's just, yeah, man, 40k is just so awesome. So let's just kind of go back through this a little bit and just pick out a couple of design elements that really stood out for me. But overall, just another great 40k animation. So even just in this beginning opening scene, we see the back of the Space Marine, really great textures, really nice angles and depth of field. But I really like all the ports and rivets that they've kind of put in the back, and they did a good job with the texturing and model to get that more embedded in the skin so you feel like it's underneath there and really deep. Love that. And one thing that I always comment on, it seems to be on these 40k videos, is the next shot. We had this opening scene, big church, you know, it feels ritualistic, depth of field, lighting, good color contrast. We have our haze and environment. And what I also like about this is they could have just had the camera straight going in, but they get this little bit of a Dutch angle that kind of just emphasize the unique ritual that we're about to see. And I think that was a great design choice. And we're getting great textures on the skin of these other people who are kind of helping build the Space Marine. And I've seen a couple of new characters in here that I've never seen before, like these guys coming down on these big dollies that only have half a body, because it kind of seems like people in these roles are almost in a torture role, but they kind of seem like more of an assistant. So let me know in the comments more about these guys, because these are new and I haven't seen them before. Also throughout this whole opening, and a common theme throughout this, is our church, our cathedral kind of has this blue lighting and bluish tones and mood, and the characters and the other interior lighting, the practical lighting from the candles, the gold around the priest, and also how they're dressed, we got this more orange and gold color palettes that are, again, as we talk about, they do this a lot. They're very complementary to the blue, so you got a really nice, pleasing palette to the eye. And this is such a nitpicky thing, and I don't want to criticize this too much. I just wish the Space Marine had a little bit more detail in his face like we've seen in some of the other animations. And even some of the side characters within this animation, they have crazy detail in their face. So I guess I'm a little surprised to not see as much detail on our Space Marine's face on his side profile and his main close-up shot. When we're walking up to our main priest guy who has all the crazy, you know, Octavius looking tentacles that is coming out of his back, I love the play of coming in and out of light as well as in and out of depth of field. They're doing a good job of introing and building up to show this character by obscuring him with light and depth of field before introducing him as our main ritual guy that's taking care of the process and doing the whole ritual and ceremony for the Space Marine. It's a good way to lead up and kind of build up in anticipation of what his character's role is going to be throughout this piece. Another quick element I like throughout this is they're doing good use of particle simulations and also fog. When they're walking across the bridge, it's nice and hazy, but then we're also getting good smoke particle simulations off of their skulls. And it's pretty good because it's actually moving with the skulls as they walk with it back and forth, kind of like you would see someone throwing incense or something like that in a church. And I think they did a really good job in executing how that smoke particles look. So really like that. I also love this like 10 to 15 second part where we're leading up to our Space Marine walking out. We're getting introduced to all the people and all the different characters that are in this ritual, but no angle is perfect. We have super high up bird's eye angle, we have Dutch angles, we have lots of depth of field, out of focus, rack focus. There's never a time where everything is perfectly in focus. And the reason I really like that decision, a real lens would work if you're using a wide aperture lens. You're gonna have stuff that is going to be out of focus. It's never going to be one big scene where everything's in focus, because if you're using that shallow depth of field in your cinema lenses, you're going to have that film feel from the depth of field because the shallow depth of field is built into those lenses. So I really like what they're doing here and mixing up those camera angles and not quite giving us the whole picture up until this point. This is such a secondary thing, and I commented while we're watching on it, but I love this shot of the cathedral window with nice haze coming through the window, and that light's interacting like how it would in real life. We're getting shafts of light in that atmospheric haze from the pillars that are inside the window. And on top of that, we got these nice looking particles, and I really like this scene. It's just a nice little secondary shot that puts everything together and really keeps setting the tone and the atmosphere inside of this cathedral. I love all the little animation sections that they're doing in the suit as well, whether how it zips up on the back or we're getting the muscle fibers or the striations in his chest as it's tightening up. Those little itty bitty details just make you feel how tight that suit is and kind of makes you feel how powerful it is as well. And that really gives us a lot to visually digest when that's all happening. And I just love this animation and detail in that. Just a quick mention, I love the ultra shallow depth of field on this book shot. Feels like a cinema lens is all the way up to like T1.8 or T2, and we just get such a shallow macro shot of this book. It just looks nice. I just wanted to call it out. Really good design choice. There's a couple of shots where the wires are connecting to the back of his suit, and I think this is a good example of motivating the camera, because we kind of have the camera panning around as the wires go into his suit, but then the camera's also motivated in the next shot when we're seeing his lower leg plate being put on. We can't really see anything. There's a lot of depth of field, but the camera's following that plate as we travel into and lock into the Space Marine. And it's just a great job of thinking outside the box and not always having the camera so stationary in other shots, and using that motivation of the arm and the locking of the plate to bring the camera in with it. And it just feels really good. And it's a good use of, again, motivating the camera to get onto our Space Marine. All throughout this section where they're putting all the parts together, just a general note, I love all the macro shots, the depth of field, and we're really focusing on each little bit and bob of this machine that they've created to put him together. This montage of every part of the suit being put together is just so great. The camera's always fluid, moving, nice depth of field. Our character might put a part on and then step out away from the camera, out, towards the depth of field, becoming blurry, getting us to focus back on the part that you just put on. And this whole montage just keeps repeating that theme. And every shot you could pause here and it's going to look great because they're using just nice depth of field and cinematic techniques throughout. I like after that montage how there's a lot of tight, quick shots and kind of quick and faster editing. They give us a moment to breathe with this nice, beautiful wide shot of the cathedral, and you have the little flying babies going up across, but it's just a great way to kind of slow the scene down, give us something to breathe and think about while they go right back into the close-up shots. And it's a good way to slow down the edit, give us a time to think, and then keep going. So we keep just showing these great close-up shots, all the different parts being assembled, all being driven by really great dialogue and lore. And it's just, it never makes it feel like the animation's too long. They keep breaking up the whole ceremony with these beautiful shots, never quite letting us get settled and keeping it interesting and keeping the momentum going. Because otherwise, this would have the potential of maybe being boring or feeling too long. But the way they just keep showing all these interesting shots, the time flies by and you never get bored watching it. I really like that part. But my favorite shot is right here towards the end where he's almost fully completed. He's about to get his shoulder armor on, and it's this nice, beautiful wide shot. It feels symmetrical with the people and also the architecture. And we kind of talked about this in the Pariah Nexus review. Warhammer does such a great job, again, that if you were to take a still of this, it feels like a Renaissance painting. It just has beautiful color tones. It's not overly vibrant. And I commented in the past about the blue. Sometimes I felt like it was too vibrant. And I know it's supposed to be, the tabletop game and that whole world, but this blue feels a little toned down and just feels really good and cinematic. And I love this shot. And like I mentioned, this is probably my favorite shot of the cinematic so far. It's just beautiful, looks amazing. And I talk about scale a lot with Warhammer 40k, but another thing we can also talk about is they do a good job of the sense of weight. There's been multiple times where we've had our monks or priests, bring in his chest armor and 2 people had to carry it. And then towards the end here, we get the bolter gun. 2 people have to hold the bolter gun and give it to the Space Marine who just wields around with one hand like it's no big deal. And even the clip for the bolter gun, you feel the weight of it in that this one person has to take 2 hands and hold it close to his chest, like, so he can support the weight, and hand it to the Space Marine who just pops it in like it's nothing. So they do a good job of weight, but also showing how strong the Space Marine are. And those are just good themes overall, that if you need to convey that, they're using these mechanisms of these people to give you that sense of either, again, scale, but also in this case, they're giving you a good sense of weight of how heavy these items are. I love the ending where we have all this great lighting on his face, the character, the room, but there's a quick subtle shift of the light that it goes away to show the helmet come down, but give it the eyes glowing. And again, they turn the light off to emphasize that light glowing, because if they kept the same light and then bring down sort of that key light that's filling his face, you wouldn't get the impact of the glow from his glowing eyes. And it's just a great way to end it because he looks awesome and ominous and just so elite, and it's just a great shot, and I really like the decision they did to do that. So there we go, guys, another one that you guys recommended since we're diving into that 40k lore. And Armoring of a Space Marine, another great cinematic from the 40k universe, and I just love this stuff. So again, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this react/breakdown video, and as always, we'll see you in the next Motion Design Reacts video. Have a great one, guys.